Boundless Spirit, pushing the limits of talk radio with Charlene Springer.
Welcome to Boundless Spirit Radio with Charlene Springer. And we've got as our guest today, Frederick Dodson, and he is an ontologist and consciousness researcher. He's the author of 27 books on reality creation and success in life, and an international speaker. His books have been translated into 7 languages, and he has conducted over 500 seminars on all continents. His unique style is intuitive, playful, and pragmatic. Welcome, Fred. How are you today?
Hello, dear listeners. I'm wide awake and happy to be here.
Great. It's always a pleasure to speak to you, Fred. You are always doing something. I came across Fred Dodson with his books on reality creation, as well as the levels of consciousness. And I can say for myself, it has helped me through just the most trying of times. And if it weren't for his books, I don't think I would have been as successful as I was in getting through those trying times. So I can say firsthand, his teachings, his work is something you always need to have in your box of tools to go to. So, Fred, what are the newest things that you're doing? I know you've got a big workshop planned for Maui in next year. And, you know, but actually before that, let's go back to your books. Reality creation has been your biggest seller so far. That's what people know you for, being Mr. Reality Creation.
Yeah, reality creation is what I'm known for. Others call it manifesting or the law of attraction. I have my own variation on that. My most popular book is actually Parallel Universes of Self, published in 2006, and it's a variation on the manifesting and law of attraction idea that says it's not me actually reality creating in that sense, but choosing something that already exists on a parallel universe timeline, and that's been an incredibly effective way of achieving one's goals. Okay, and right now I'm in the process of developing a whole workshop based on that book that was published 10 years ago, because I've kind of, I put books out there and I test drive an idea for a while and see how it works with people. And once I see that it works, I do a workshop on it. So
that's a good way.
I'm taking the experiences of my students and developing techniques based on that. And it's good. I just want it to be the most wonderful and beautiful workshop I've ever done. That's always my, my quality standard, the best thing I've ever done. And that's going to be in Maui from the 3rd to the 7th of February, 2017. And it's going to involve taking, what we're going to do is pretty unique, actually. We're going to define a reality we want to live in, and we're going to play act that reality for a couple of days in thinking, speaking, acting, role-playing, and thereby get into the vibe so deeply that it goes into our subconscious and becomes our second nature. And when that happens, according to what I teach, people are going to leave the seminar and so easily slip into the new reality, not back into the old reality. That's what it's normally like when people leave a seminar, they're all fucked up and then they slip back into the old reality. It all comes crashing back in, but that's not what's going to happen. I want them to so easily slip into a new life and a new reality. And they're going to come back home and they're going to find, I want them to come back home and find different things having arisen that match their new vibe, because we've practiced that new vibe and programmed it into the subconscious so deeply that they can't help but notice the changes. Okay?
Mm-hmm. How
Okay.
different is this than, let's say, the law of, again, for people who don't know your work, how different is this than just the law of attraction?
Well, it's similar, but it's based on a different. I mean, the mechanics are very similar, but it's based on the idea that you're actually entering something that already exists on a parallel universe timeline with its own past, its own present, and its own future. So I say there's a version of you out there that's already living the life you want, and you can in the law of attraction, you have to identify with a certain feeling, okay, in order to attract certain things into your life. This is just a deeper way of doing that because you get into a role where you identify with a new past, a new present, and a new future. And if people are interested in that, they can check out my free video online. It's called Parallel Universe of Self Meditation. That pretty much gives them a sense of what it feels like to do that.
To do something different, yeah.
Yeah, to feel, to be something different, and having one's actions come from that. So I don't know how advanced your listeners are, but it's not about doing something different. It's about being someone different and having everything else arise from that. So in my experience, that gives you the quickest results if you change not your doing but your being, because most people, they think that if they change their actions and what they do, things are going to change rapidly, but it's actually the being, the feeling, the emotion that needs to change first, so that the right actions or non-actions come from that spontaneously. Can you follow? Okay.
I can, yes. Because what happens is, most people go, well, I want more abundance in my life. And, there are schools of thought that speak about doing abundance with, let's do some mantras. And you go and you say your mantra every morning and every afternoon, or let's do a vision board and we do this. So is this any different than what you're doing compared to doing having any of these other tools?
Yeah, that's the other way of doing the law of attraction, and that's valid and fine and does work, But I recommend people try what I teach first because it's easier. So if I step into the parallel universe reality or the version of myself that's already rich, say, or already abundant, I'm not going to do mantras anymore. I'm not going to do anything actually related to trying to get rich because I already am. So the things that I'm going to be doing are what I would be doing if I were rich. and I don't think doing mantras on I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich is part of that. Maybe something else then, So I teach people to rest and relax into a place where abundance is natural and normal, and to see what they'd be doing and to role play that actually, to, role play the state of already being rich, already being that, already being this. And I say that as that becomes natural and normal and subconscious, they start attracting it. And it's just and if that's too much for people, if that's too far out and crazy, they can go back to the other methods of programming and repeating. So the linear, there's two methods actually. There's the linear method, and that requires repetition, 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 repetition. And there's the non-linear method, and I actually teach the non-linear method of instantly putting your consciousness somewhere and instantly feeling that and being it. And period.
You're like, do you want to do it this way or you want to go the long way? Basically. Okay. So, Fred, how did you even get into this? What put you on this path of, helping people, seeing things from different points of view, knowing so much? What put you on this path?
Well, I figure everyone wants to know what's going on, right? I mean, we come into this life with no memory of what was there before, and all kinds of people telling us how things are, even though they don't know it themselves. And I was a curious kid, I guess, and I thought, what's going on? The question, what is going on here, led me to what I do. And, curiosity, which did not kill the cat, which made the cat very, very happy and very prosperous.
Okay, I'll remember that.
And I still ask myself that, even though I guess I'm all about expansion. I see the universe expanding. I want to expand in the same way. And the more I find out and the more I know and the more I have, the more energy I feel, the more I still want. It's like one keeps expanding and improving and growing, and it just goes on and on and on and on. There's no limit.
We like that. We definitely like that. So then, as a child, when first of all, when did you start writing?
I think I started reading books at the age of 8, and by the time I was 12, I'd already read so much. And doing all that reading, you eventually just want to start writing, So I think I published my first book at 21, started writing at about 14, writing down my thoughts. I actually, when I was 15 years old, I collected all kinds of rare and curious books, rare and curious books, and made a mail order catalog of them and sold them. So I've been into I've been into knowledge and books for a long time.
So very interesting, because you talked about your first book was actually about flirting, the art of flirting.
Yeah. which is kind of an embarrassment. It's still published in one language, and I'd wanted the book to be removed because it's no longer what I am and what I teach. And the publisher doesn't want to remove it. She, no, it's good. It sells really well, Said, okay, whatever.
It's your other life, but it was the start. So that means you were actually observing people.
Yeah.
With the art of flirting.
Yeah, I was coaching people back then, men primarily, also some women. I was coaching people on that, and it's funny because the intention behind that book. Back then, I was already into these spiritual topics, metaphysical topics, success topics, and I only wrote that book with one intention, and that was to make money. Okay, so I wasn't even into the topic to begin with. That's why I wanted it removed, because the intention wasn't pure. And money it did make, but the intention just wasn't pure. So I was like, I don't think I can make any money with these spiritual topics. What could I make money with? Well, everybody's into love and sex, so let me write a book about that. That's a very honest, statement of how things were. Yeah.
And how important is intention in the grand scheme of things, with what we do?
Well, pure intention. You're responsible for your intentions. You're not necessarily responsible for the results. Okay, and having a pure intention is important to me. It seems to me that things manifest more favorably if your intention is pure, if it comes from the heart, if it's a friendly intention. a compassionate, kind, warm-hearted intention leads to better results. Okay, that's just my take on it.
What role does humility play in all this?
Good question. Humility is good as long as it doesn't turn into making oneself small. Okay, that's what I mean by a compassionate, kind, and warm heart. That has something to do with humility and knowing that the things that you receive in your life, the gifts you receive, come from the highest source, come from the universe. That's humility. But some people take that idea too far in that they no longer, they make themselves small. They say, oh, I'm just a little creature. I'm nothing. That's not. There's humility and there's false humility, and I think most people know that.
You talk a lot about attention, like where is your attention? Do you want to share some thoughts with that?
Well, it's the single most important question a person can ask themselves. That's what I've been saying for a long time now. The single most important question is, where does your awareness go on a regular basis? Where is your awareness now? Where has it been the last hour? Where would you like it to be? Because where you put your awareness, that's what you become. That's what you feel. That's what you start doing. That's what you perceive. And people get into this daily life grind where their awareness is habitually on the same things over and over again. So they see things in the same way over and over again, do the same things over and over again, perceive the same things over and over again. It's because their awareness has become habituated and it's comfortable for them to keep their awareness only familiar. So the question, where's your awareness and where would you like it to be, expands that. And I'm right now in the process of creating a iPhone and Android app based on those questions. The Android app is already finished. The iPhone app is going to be finished within the week, and I'll publish it next week. And it's this app that you can set as an alarm throughout the day, where my voice asks you these questions. In the middle of the day, my voice suddenly appears in your room asking you, where is your awareness right now? Or where would you like your awareness to be, So, yeah, that's a nice little idea I had.
So in getting people more, I hate to say the word focus, but more attentive to their attention, what are some of the tools that you can share with some of the listeners?
My app. Well, just the question, the two questions: where is my awareness now, and where would I like my awareness to be? You could use my app, or you could hang those questions up in your room, or you could just ask yourself that once in a while, even just once a month, or once a week, or if you're a pro, every day, or if you're super pro, every hour. But even just once a month, because the thing is, people actually they really go through life unaware that they can actually shift their awareness. That'll always be so amazing and stunning to me, how you can go through life not being aware that you can change where your awareness is. It's on automatic, like your boss says this and your awareness goes to what your boss says. The TV commercials say this and your awareness goes there. The politicians say this and this and your awareness goes there. And people don't have a sense of being able to gently guide their own awareness, which is the first step, and then even their own thinking, which is the second step. So just this just telling people to once in a while shift your awareness, shift where your attention goes, will go a long way in making their circumstances more pleasant, because what you focus on, what you put your attention to, is what grows and what you eventually get. And anything you want in life, just focus on it, look at it, hear it, listen to it, think it, do it. Just have your awareness with it, identify with it, make it important, and it's going to start manifesting all around you.
Wow, beautiful. So does the parallel universe meditation come in handy when you're trying to be a little more aware, like when you do have that downtime that you can listen to something like this?
Sure. I mean, that's a video I made a couple of days ago. You turn on that video and it just takes you somewhere totally else that you're not used to going. It helps you feel things you're not used to feeling. Any type of visualization helps you to feel something that you're not used to feeling. And if you want to experience something else, you got to take your awareness somewhere else. And not always be with that which you already know, with the past, basically, which you've created in the past. For a good example of this, I mean, I fall into it regularly. I've been in this house that I am for a while, and I've not really been happy with my curtains and interior design, okay, and I've just complacently kept it that way for a whole year, and unaware that I'm not actually happy with it, you know. And just a couple of days ago, I woke up and I became aware that none of the interior furniture is who I am. This is what I want anymore. It was who I used to be, but it's no longer who I am. And I said, what is this? Well, this is not, none of this is who I am. So I'm starting to change it bit by bit and make it more to who I am. And that's just an example of unawareness, then becoming aware and making the change. Before you want to make a change, you got to become aware. You know, you got to wake up and realize there's a better version of things, a better version of yourself, a better version of your place, a better version of your relationship. And just knowing that will help you gravitate in that direction.
Now, in your meditation, because I've been playing with expansion meditation also. I haven't done yours yet, but I will play with that. I get a sense this is probably what it is too, that it is about expanding past our planet. Can you speak about your meditation and where are some of the places we can go with this? I mean, can we go to Pluto? That's my thing, you know. So can you help us through this? What is your meditation like for those who haven't listened yet? And as I said, I'm just comparing it. Is it that the whole universe is out there and you too can connect to this? You know, what is it?
It goes back to going beyond what you're familiar with and feeling new things. And of course, if you stretch your awareness out to Pluto, you're going to feel something new. And that's the joy of the soul, feeling something new. It feels different and strange to be at Pluto. And as you bring that feeling back into your daily life, your day is going to be different because you're going to be in Pluto vibe. And that's just so beautiful. Okay? Weird things are going to happen to you because of that. It wouldn't have happened if you weren't at Pluto in your morning meditation. So there's the thing I like to do is I like to go places and kind of either imagine them or remote view them. Remote viewing is simply, let's say I stretch my awareness to Mars and just hover over the landscape and then see what comes up, you know, and then I'm always curious, is what I'm perceiving there, is that real or is it my imagination? Those are the kinds of explorations I do in those regards, and I'm glad you do them too.
There's a lot of stuff out there. So So sometimes, what are some of the crazy experiences that you've had in doing those meditations that you go out? What have you seen that you can talk about?
Well, there's all kinds of weirdness out there.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen ancient structures on the moon, for example, and I'm still trying to determine whether these ancient structures are on the moon are really there in our universe, in our parallel universe version, or if they're something else. It's as if there's something inside the moon. And again, I'm not saying this is the way it is. That's just what I perceive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the millions of things I've experienced. Okay, and then I've experienced really heavenly places, way out there beyond our galaxy. Really, really nice places. I've experienced things I can't even put into words because they don't exist on Earth. But if we're talking about closer to Earth, I think there's more to the moon. Frankly, that's what I think. Okay, that's all I can say. There's more to the moon. There's more going on there.
Well, have you ever?
Which sounds kind of wacky,
No.
So I don't like to. I never publicly. Normally, I never talk about stuff like that. But you're bringing it out of me.
Sorry. I've been there too. So, question: have you ever gone into the Earth with your meditation? Because we talk about expansion and we always go outside, but have you ever done the Earth version of it? Going inside instead.
Not deliberately.
Mm-hmm.
Not in a meditation. Have you?
It just kind of happened. You get drawn in. Okay. So I didn't know if you had any experience with that.
Well, what experience do you have inside the Earth?
Whose interview is this? You get to share today.
Well, I think I've never been inside Earth deliberately, but I think there's stuff going on there too. I think there's I don't know what's going on, but there's stuff going on there. There's sentient living beings there, which is another thing I've never publicly said.
Well, I think what has happened, Fred, is especially recently, people are becoming a lot more aware of other things. They're seeing things from different, because again, somehow they're expanding, somehow they're being a little more attentive. They are just remembering things from their past, remembering things from their childhood, because childhood is a big part of a lot of stuff, that, your parents told you, don't ever talk about that again, or shut up, don't say you did that, or you're crazy, or, don't ever tell anyone else. So a lot of those things are coming up in people because, we're in another time, we're in another sense of this reality where it's shifting. So a lot of old memories are coming up with people, and sometimes they don't know where to turn. So sometimes when they hear someone else say, "Oh, okay," and then they go, "Oh, okay, good. It happened to someone else because I thought I was the only one,"
Right. So this reasonable sounding, fairly decent sounding person says so too. Okay.
Right, then I'm not crazy. And they won't lock you up.
Yeah, there's definitely something ancient inside Earth, something very, very ancient. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't say pleasant though. I don't like putting my attention there.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest. But there's something there. Yeah, it's not all just rocks and mud.
Mm.
There's something ancient there from long ago.
Mm-hmm. So then sometimes when you meet other people, you know how you are, when you meet people, do you feel them? And have you felt odd people in the process?
Yeah, can't avoid it. Yeah,
The oddest person?
well, it's the tendency, if you feel a lot, if you can perceive and feel a lot, the tendency is not to go out much. But that's not yeah, but that's not a solution, because you want to socialize and exchange energy. So you just got to choose your people, and that's what I did. I just chose the people that I really want to spend time with. And that's important in raising one's consciousness, is to choose one's people consciously and not just randomly, to really make a deliberate intention what kind of people one wants to be with and spend time with, and hang out just with them and let go of all people that are really not really that have a negative vibe, frankly. So
because a lot of times go ahead.
Yeah.
And I was saying, because a lot of times people they ignore that gut feeling that tells them, you don't want to talk to that person, or like I can tell you, I had an experience once where I actually heard someone. They left me a message on the phone, and I never heard the message because all I heard was every single bell, like a 20 alarm fire bell going off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
and people do ignore that, and I don't know why. I mean, they know this person will be no good for them. They know this restaurant will be no good for them. We know these things beforehand. We can just feel it. And some people really have this really unpleasant vibe, and you just got to be aware of that and not go in that direction. Out of politeness, we have these polite programs going on, and we think, oh well, I have to be nice to everybody. But no, you don't have to be nice to everybody. You don't have to engage in everything. You got to choose your people. That's very important. And if you fail to do that, if you ignore your intuition, you know what happens if you ignore that.
You get nailed. How many times have you done that? And after you've gotten nailed a couple of times, then you go, okay, I don't want to be slapped anymore, so I will listen.
Well, I listen most of the times, but I got nailed just yesterday, with a car mechanic. I knew he wasn't the right guy. I knew he had weird stuff going on in his life. I knew he had no integrity whatsoever, and I leave my car with him, and of course, he rips me off. Of course, I knew it beforehand. I thought, oh my God, this place is really weird. It's a weird vibe here. It's really shabby, and there's weird people hanging around with shifty eyes, and there's something else going on here at this repair shop, and I leave my car there, and I'm like, yeah, just chill out, Fred. Just leave your car here. I was lazy, and then it turns out that I don't want to repeat the whole story, but he kind of ripped me off, okay, and that's the result of not listening to my intuition, not of being too embarrassed to turn around instantly, because my car was already in there, and I look at the people, it looks kind of weird to then back out and drive away again. So it's these politeness things we have, these.
Well, that's where I was going next. That sense of letting go of needing attention and approval.
Yeah. Exactly.
Why are these things? Well, this is one of the reasons why these things are so important. What are some of the other reasons?
Well, letting go of, when you notice yourself needing attention and approval, it's good to breathe it out and let go of it, and give yourself some instead. It's a quick fix to most problems we have in life. It's because our need for attention and approval drives many of our behaviors and actions, And if you're needy of somebody's approval, you can't act, you be yourself. You can't act and feel natural with them, feel at ease, because you're always scheming and trying to get something, and you're always waiting for someone's email or waiting for something to happen. And that's why letting go of that is, it's such a, it's so liberating. I direct anybody who's listening, I direct them to my video on YouTube titled "Letting Go of Needing Attention and Approval." And that video, I have, I see how many likes my videos get. That video doesn't get many likes, even though it's probably the most important video in my whole list. And whereas videos on manifesting stuff get so many likes, so much approval, okay? Whereas the video on approval doesn't get that much approval. And that's funny, because if people learned how to let go of needing attention and approval, their manifestations and goal reaching would speed up rapidly. If you look at, dear listener, if you look at your life, look at how many things you do and say that try to gain somebody's attention or approval, and look at how you change who you really are, your joy and your exuberance, just to fit in, just to make a good impression. The more I stop doing that, the better things get. But we don't always stop doing it, because there's certain rules in society. So we respect those rules too. We have to balance it with politeness and respecting others. Okay, I can't always be, I don't always want to be totally myself, because it kind of shocks people. Okay, I don't have to. Like yesterday, I mean, these poor guys, if they see me pull out there and in disgust, I just decided this time to be polite. Okay.
And look what it got you.
Yeah, but still, you got to balance that out. Balance. Yeah.
So, what role does free will play in all this? Is this what it is?
Free will. Yeah, free will is free will as compared to, I like to talk about free will as compared to predestination. I say that you have the general theme of your life is predestined, and what you do within it is free will. So I believe we have this general theme that we come into when we come to planet Earth. Okay, a general body shape, a general looks, general voice. And within that predestined thing that we can't do anything about, including our death and our birth, we have choices. And the more we can exercise those choices and our free will, the better. But, if you become unaware and unconscious to a very extreme point, you lose that free will. So it's something that's got to be deliberately exercised. The fact that you can make intentions, you can change your mind, you can change things, you can make something different. It's got to be exercised.
Mm-hmm. So you think that ultimate plan we still can't change, is just how we go about it?
Well, we can also change the ultimate plan, but for that we would have to go back to a level of consciousness where that plan was drafted and created.
So before you even got into the body.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you talk also about that would be interesting. Let's go. Can I change this?
You can change it, but you have to die first. No problem. You can change it.
Sure. So now I actually think you'll be able to change it without dying eventually.
Well, yeah, you can change some things, aspects of the body, Even while you're here, you can do that. You can change your weight, and you can change the shape of your face. I mean, our face changes all the time, depending upon who we hang out with. You know, for you notice how people who are in relationships, their faces start becoming similar somehow.
Yes, yes.
And depending on what you eat, you know, if you're eating meat, if you're eating pork all the time, you kind of get a, you know, a more pink face. Uh, you know, you can change. You can change that. You can change those things.
And so one other thing that you can change is your voice tones.
Yeah.
You talk about that too in your communications course.
Oh yeah, you're probably referencing a recent post of mine. Yeah, it's so beautiful that as you modify your voice, the tone, and also the speed in which you speak, you modify your vibration and your mood, and you can actually change your mood quite radically by changing your tone and your voice, as I just did.
Oh God. And then you could make it high pitched and really crazy, and then
yeah, you can make it totally crazy. And if you go totally crazy, you're gonna oh my God, you're gonna have totally different vibe and enthusiasm and all kinds of stuff. Exactly.
Yeah. So people don't need to recognize. So I guess this is the key thing, that you really need to have your attention on you, so you recognize what you're doing and go from there, and then expand, I guess.
Yeah, but have your attention on you without analyzing. It's not supposed to become a analysis, constant control, monitor, and analysis thing. It's a gentle sort of awareness of what's happening, you know, what's going on. Then you can change stuff. And then once stuff is changed and once things are in a good flow, you don't need any attention. You can just go with the flow because it's subconscious. You can be unaware most of the time. The time to be more aware and have more attention on you is when things are not going the way you'd like them to go, you know, so that you can modify that. You can only modify that with awareness to what you're doing and what you're putting out there, what vibe you're putting out there, and then you can modify and make better. But as long as things are going well, I usually say let them go well. Don't be conscious of everything. Be subconscious. Let it all happen naturally and subconsciously.
So what do you do for type A personalities when you're telling them, okay, this is how you slow it down and this is what you do? The people who are only left brain thinkers, what do you do for them? How do you speak to them with this?
Oh, you mean the analyzing types?
Yeah.
Well, first I want to check whether they're really the analyzing type or whether that's just their mind gone wild. You know, there's this nerdy type. They're really that way. They prosper and blossom through thinking. You know, they're usually these nerdy, skinny, big-headed types, and they could use, to balance their energy out a little bit, they could use deeper breathing, I guess. More oxygen, more sunshine, more music, to get into the right brain. You know, music, sunshine. I mean, Virgin Islands. You know, I'd send them to the Virgin Islands to dance to dance some, because they're too left-brained. And then people who are too right-brained could use a little bit more left-brain. It's a matter of, everything's a matter of balance. You see, we like to say this is that type. We like to do typology, you know. He's that star sign, so he's like that. He's the nerdy type. He's that type. And in order to expand, and grow and mature, you should try to explore other types. You know, not to be limited to the type you were born with, to the destiny, to the predestined type you were born into. You want to exercise your free will and try other things because isn't it beautiful to feel something new?
Mm-hmm. Are you seeing more people accepting that? Because a lot of people, they come in, the way they come in, they think that that's it. They're just screwed. This is how they are. This is their reality. And again, this is where we get back to reality creations. So are you seeing more people that are suddenly becoming more aware and going, okay, I'll try this? Or is it where it's only that select few still? Or is it new people coming in on this?
No, absolutely. People are becoming more flexible and versatile. And absolutely. Also, thanks to the internet, also thanks to being exposed to all kinds of ways of being. Every day, millions of people upload their YouTube videos where they're presenting a totally different way of being, and it's incredible what I mean. The amount of stuff that people are being these days is incredible. Yesterday, I watched this guy. I mean, you see something else every day. Okay, I watched this guy who is setting the world record in the amounts of cake he can eat. A skinny guy. Okay, he eats like 10 cakes in 10 minutes, something like that. Okay, that's and that's his way of being. And people are definitely becoming experimental, and that's the soul speaking. Experimentalism and playfulness is not the ego; it's the soul. It's the creative part in us that wants to grow and expand and progress and explore and learn, who's not just settling, settling with less, settling with what is. And that's what makes us happy, really. What makes us happy is learning and growing.
Mm-hmm.
All of us. That applies to everyone. And you know how we get, when we get old and we stop learning and growing and stop having goals, stop having stuff to look forward to, we kind of start declining and get Alzheimer's and start forgetting things and so on. It's that's common knowledge.
So when you do look at the state of the world, we see things like more autism, of just so many more dementia and older. So younger people are having issues and older people are having issues. What would you attribute it to when you look at it from an energetic point of view?
Autism, you mean?
Autism and like what a lot of the older people are getting, dementia, Alzheimer's. Again, something with the brain.
Well, dementia and Alzheimer's is as you age, you kind of tend to rest on what was on the past. Okay, and I'm only 42 years old, and I've noticed the same tendency within myself already. Kind of I'm like, well, I've already achieved all this, and it's a typical tendency when you succeed in something to kind of rest on that. And by being aware of that, I avoid that and try to reinvent myself and do more and do new. And um, I have reinvented myself. I have another profession now, which I'm not going to share, by the way, but I actually do something else, which is movie related, acting related. Um, and in that way, I stay fresh and new instead of saying, because if you stop having stuff to look forward to, stop having intentions, stop having goals, that's when dementia sets in, because that's when illness, that's when cancer sets in, because you just say, well, I've done it all, I've had enough. So the body and the mind start to decline, and you leave the body and go elsewhere because you're done. It's just being done. And if you don't want, if you're exuberant and have stuff to do, you're not going to get sick. Everybody knows that, everybody knows that if you're really passionate and into something, you don't have time to get sick.
Mm-hmm. And so what would be in the case of all the kids the high rates of autism that's going on our planet?
Well, that's something separate for me. That's why I didn't answer it. That's separate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Just any thoughts on it energetically?
I don't really know what it is. I haven't looked into it. Do you have any, if I may ask?
I just think they're just coming in wired a little bit differently, and then of course I look at external factors like vaccines, etc. What I have noticed is that these new kids, I heard a long time ago they said that any kid born after 2000 was coming in with no karma, and I kind of get it because these kids, the newer ones, are just phenomenal. They say what they want to say, and they decide that's not working for me, and they're free to say it. So there's no guilt with them saying no to you, and I like that, of course, because I'm like, wow, they're just being their true self, and it's very easy. It's with ease. It's not I'm mad at you or I'm defying you. It's not a defying thing. It's just that no, this is not what I want. Yeah, I like these kids.
Yeah, it's not the rebellious no that we used to have.
Right.
No, but it's the clear and gentle no. It's
yeah,
it's beautiful. As for autism, I really don't know what it is. I don't think it's. I think it's not an ideal state, you know. They have some interesting abilities, but then there's also a downside to it. So it's not an ideal state. I just thank you very much. It's something I need to look into.
Oh, great! I can't wait for the book.
So much, you see, there's so much we need to look into. I can't do it all myself. Could you write a few books, please?
Fred. Wow, incredible. But I mean, yep, see, in 1 hour we can solve the world's problems. So, as we say, next step, you said, so your next step, you're sharing more of this parallel universe meditation. Are you going to do anything more? Because I think we've talked about this before, where are you going to do anything more with levels of energy? Because that for me was a key book in my processing. So any thoughts on where else this could go with levels of energy?
Oh, yeah. There's much more coming in that direction. I wrote Levels of Energy. I'm going to rewrite that book. That's the first step. The second step is I wrote part 2 of that book, Journeys in Spectral Consciousness, Levels of Energy part 2, and there's going to be a part 3. I just haven't gotten to it yet. Moreover, I just published the video course, Levels of Energy, which is everything I've taught in my Levels of Energy seminars summarized into a video course that appears to be expensive to some, apparently, but it's really cheap. I'm selling it for $1,000 because the seminar itself costs several thousands, and it's kind of it's a summary of what I've done the last 10 years. It's my life's work all into one Levels of Energy video course. It contains the slides I've used in my seminars. It contains inside information I've never published before. So that's the thing I did a few days ago, actually. I published that. And Levels of Energy book 3 is going to be only about the higher realms, only about beautiful things, only good things, only delicious goodies.
I can smell it. Awesome. So, Fred, thank you again for being on with us for this first hour. And, if you want to get more information on Fred, he will be on for the second hour. In the second hour, we go much deeper. As you know, this is Boundless Spirit Radio, and there are no limits. So we're going to sign off. Thank you, Fred, for hanging out with us today.
All right. Thank you. And have a nice day, y'all.
Great.
boundless spirit goes off the rails. Next up in our members-only segment, the Woo Woo Hour. Whether it's happening on the planet, off the planet, or inside the planet, host Charlene Springer, expert guests, and you dare to go there in the Woo Woo Hour.